produce rhyme synergy. And for the longest caught the blinking of the torment, till England of performance still thinking of us dormant. And so it be, who hold close and kept dear, were left there, won't know folks by next year. For ties cut, invest shares, perplex peers, rise up, reflect fear, for hex sneers, the rest cheer, know we did it for a purpose. Poem of a kid who never did scratch surface, until he owned it, respect the craft for proponents, cause it ain't over till the song.
Remember what? You would hear a song you like, and you felt like it was about your life. Remember when you would write a letter to your girlfriend, and she would read it to all of her girlfriends. Remember staying up all night, talking on the phone. Remember skipping class with your homeboys. Remember G.I. Joe?
I used to play Mortal Kombat with Matthew. I swore he used to cheat. I swear I could never beat him. Those sour jawbreakers, I swear I could never eat him. Baddest chick in the school, I swear I could never meet her. Until I wrote her a letter telling her I'm a singer. Me and Terrence would draw pictures of sneakers. Me and Ashley used to be in the class singing. I wrote my first rap in the back of the class thinking, I'm feeling it, yeah. Feel alive, did you get feeling alive? If you feel it, raise your L in the sky. I remember selling my mixtape in high school. They was really kinda supportive at my school. I was selling cassette tapes for $5. I was making my own beats, I was beatboxing.
Brown, brown sugar, that brown, brown, hey. 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 Brown, brown sugar, that brown, brown, hey.
What's up, everybody, on a Thursday evening, getting ready to head over to the movies again tonight. Love the entertainment coming back here to South Florida. I almost didn't make it today. Had a bunch of stuff going on. Everything's working. Yeah, everything seems to be working. We're doing good. I have the trusty headphones in today because we're going to be going over some video, talking about some video. So today's show is, I'm talking directly to the sellers in the market, people who have property that they need to sell. And there's a couple of videos I want to go over. I'm going to stop it like I usually do and make comments as we go along. And some of you that are looking to buy and make some money in real estate, you might not get today. You're like, why is he talking to sellers? But if you read between the lines here, and start seeing what I'm talking about, there's some things that you're going to grasp and understand. I've been talking about for, a few weeks now, telling everybody what the market is and what it really is, not just what they're talking about on TV or in the news or what you might hear from a realtor. And the problem with it is nobody, again, is looking at what's coming. The Titanic has sailed. The market's doing well. Prices are through the roof. Everybody's talking about how much money there is to be made in real estate. And they're not seeing what's coming. I mean, they're basically ignoring it, just not even paying any attention to it. To me, it is like dancing in the ballroom on the Titanic. Right now, while you're dancing, everything's fine. You're having a great evening, sipping champagne, having the best meal you possibly can have on this brand new ship that's sailing across the ocean, and you have no idea what's ahead. None. Neither does anyone else on that ship. And the captain, who I'm going to call the realtor, understands that he's responsible for what's going on, but he doesn't really know. He's relying on reports that are given to him. you've seen the movie, and the captain's looking out, and he goes, "You see anything?" And the guy up top goes, "Nope, I don't see anything. Everything's fine. Good. Okay, let's push on. Let's just keep going." Until a couple hours later, the guy up on the bridge starts freaking out and sounding the alarm. Oh my God, bing, 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 red, and there's a big friggin' iceberg ahead. Oh my God, there's a big friggin' iceberg. And the captain's like, "Well, this ship can't sink. It's unsinkable. This market is so good, it can't collapse. It's unsinkable. It's uncollapsible. Nothing's going to happen." But you know the rest of the story. And there's been all kinds of things that people have talked about as to what contributed to the sinking of the Titanic. Was it bad planning? Was it, just bad luck? Did they not realize that something could basically shear open the ship? Was it sabotage? The bottom line with all this is nobody foresaw that it could even happen. So much so they didn't even put enough, lifeboats on the boat. Not everybody could get bailed out. Some people had to go down with the ship. A good portion of the people on the boat went down with the ship, unfortunately. Some people just abandoned ship. You see all the parallels I'm making here? People are going to be abandoning homes. People are going to go down with what they paid for. So I'm going to just address the sellers here in the market. Basically, those of you who'd like to cash in your ticket on the Titanic and get paid now, don't wait. Do not wait. If you have a property that you'd like to sell, obviously you want to sell near the top end of the market. You don't want to be, the term that we use is chasing the market down, because that's a dangerous place to be. You're just watching the market evaporate from the value of your home, and you're trying to sell it, but at that point, after it hit the iceberg, nobody wants to buy a ticket on the Titanic. You wouldn't be able to give it away. Sounds great when it leaves the dock. When the ship gets christened, everybody wanted to be a part of it. All kinds of celebrations. It's sailing. Everybody's having a great time. And then what happened? It went down. It went down. So I'm going to show you two videos. One from CNBC, which is why I'm adjusting my headset so I can hear it and talk along with you. And then we're going to talk about one locally here, video from Boca. And I want you to hear, and I'll stop and we'll talk about it. I want you to hear what's said on each of these videos. And I need you to basically listen to what people are saying. So let me see if I can cue this up. If I can,
Welcome to you both. And Daryl, I'll just start with you. What jumps out the most to you about this home price appreciation that we're seeing?
It's just remarkable how strong the housing market is when the rest of the economy is in turmoil. And I think it speaks to how different this pandemic recession is from other recessions in the past. People have changed their relationship to their home, and we're seeing this big game of musical chairs where people are swapping homes to get what they really want.
So one more question on this. Are you seeing these gains across the country? Are they concentrated in the suburbs? Is there an offsetting effect in the places that people are leaving?
Home prices went up in every single metro that we track, but you do see a difference between the urban core versus the suburbs. The suburbs and more rural areas are much hotter than some of the downtown areas, and the downtown areas that are the weakest are in San Francisco and New York City.
Yeah, that makes
So what we're seeing and what they're saying here is that there's a flight from the inner city. And they're talking about major big cities like San Francisco and, where all the violence has happened. Who would have thunk that property values would go down in those areas? But other than that, she says she's seeing across the board, everything is fine. There's no sign of an iceberg in the water yet.
Sense, Diana. As we know, we've been reporting on this for a long time now, for months. So, Diana, how high can home prices go? I mean, are we going to look at this as a one-time surge because there was this huge flood of people looking for housing as quickly as they could get their hands on it? Or is it possible that it could be sustained for some time?
Now, understand what she just said. She just said, was there a surge, which we all know there was, that people needed to get into these homes as fast as they can because they had to get the hell out of Dodge. From wherever they were, whatever was going on, they had to get out of town. And of course, there was a huge surge. But it doesn't seem to me like anybody's grasping the end of the surge. Everybody keeps talking about what's going on right now.
Well, look, affordability is weakened and there's only so much people can pay. We have record low mortgage rates. That's giving people additional purchasing power. But as we start to see more supply hit the market, which hopefully we will if the home builders continue to ramp up as they're already doing. Then
Whoa. Did you catch that? Until we see more supply hit the market. And she went directly to home builders building more homes. She completely jumped over it, didn't mention it, and we'll see if she mentions it. She doesn't mention the shadow inventory whatsoever. Yeah, there's going to be more housing as the home builders begin building more homes. Obviously here in South Florida, unless they're being built in an opportunity zone, there's not a whole heck of a lot more land to build some houses. So let's listen some more.
We'll see prices start to cool off a bit. It's all about that very intense demand and that very short supply. You're looking at markets where supply is down anywhere from 20 to 40% year over year, and that's in large cities and small cities, and especially in some of those small to mid-sized cities like Oklahoma City or Nashville, which are just seeing a surge in buyers there who are moving out of larger city areas. And I would note also that while San Francisco and New York are seeing this big urban flight, other cities are still seeing a lot of demand within the city as long as there are residential neighborhoods like this one here in D.C. We're in the city.
Okay, so she's talking about supply and demand. How can you have a discussion about supply and demand if you don't discuss supply being held, per se, in a warehouse? When I say warehouse, I'm talking about all the properties that are in foreclosure that will hit the market inevitably. That iceberg is there in the water. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's a huge friggin' iceberg that everybody's ignoring, including CNBC. And you have to wonder at some point why.
But this area is incredibly hot because you have homes that have large spaces, you have backyards, you have outdoor areas. And that's really what people still want, is to be close to the urban core, but just have that kind of space.
And Diana, how is the psychology working in the housing market right now? Because obviously back during the bubble years, the higher prices went, the more interested people got. Are we seeing any signs of that yet, or does it seem to be acting in the normal way, which is to turn people off?
Well, no, I mean, I don't think you're seeing a bubble in home prices yet because
The normal way. Greed. As a selling agent, as a seller with a piece of property, you don't wait until the bubble comes. When that bubble comes, it's too late. The only way you're going to be safe is if you know for sure what's about to happen. If you don't know what's about to happen, you're going to get stuck and get caught without a chair when the music stops.
you're continuing to see such strong demand. We also, in the last case 10 years ago, people were flipping homes, pushing home prices higher because they were using faulty mortgages. That was no money down, very poorly underwritten. Anybody could buy a house. That is.
You mean like with an FHA loan? With basically being able to get in with 3 or 4% down and buying a house? You mean like that? You mean with 33,000 properties here in South Florida alone, as I showed you a couple of days ago, are in mortgage delinquency. 33,000. I think it was like 14,000 in Dade, 13,000 or so in Broward, and like 6,000 or 7,000 here in Palm Beach County. But nobody's talking about that.
absolutely not the case right now. You must be fully underwritten and you must be able to make those monthly payments or you're not going to get a mortgage. So the finances that are going into today's housing market are much stronger than they were 10 years ago. You also have a tremendous amount of home equity in the market, trillions of dollars collectively that people are just sitting on because home value.
Okay, now you have to understand what she just said there. Trillions of dollars of home equity, but it's false equity. If earlier in the video she told you about how the property values are skyrocketing because of pent-up demand right now to get out of the city, and as there's more demand and less inventory, the price has gone up. So if you had a $300,000 mortgage on a $400,000 house, you had $100,000 in equity. Now, if that house is selling, the market is selling for $500,000, you now have $200,000 of equity. But go to Publix and ask them if you can pay for your groceries with equity. The equity is a strange thing. Equity is one of those things that you have, you can claim it, but it can go away in an instant. And I watch people who had, back down in Fort Lauderdale, who had $700,000-$800,000 houses, had mortgages of $400,000 in equity. Wow, you're doing really well. And then 2 or 3 months later, that house is worth $600,000, and you only have $200,000. Let's make it worse. Let's see some people who refinanced at the higher value, and they said, I can get probably an 80% loan and pull down $600,000 on this house, and then all of a sudden, the iceberg hits, and the house is only worth $550,000. Just like that, it happens. And if people don't watch out, we're going to be in that kind of a market again.
Are so high. So I don't think home prices can get out of hand if people can't afford them. But as long as they are well underwritten and we have these low mortgage rates, you are going to see home prices push higher until you see more supply.
And Daryl, a question.
Okay. You are going to see home prices continue to rise until we see more supply. Duh. That's what I've been saying. So if you're a seller, I'm telling you right now, the supply is already there. I'm going to show you the supply is there. It just has not hit the market yet. The iceberg has not been hit, but it's sitting there in the water. So I'm telling you, as a seller, as a person who may want to sell your property, move on it now, put it on the market, and try to get whatever you can get for it. If you want to cash out, now is the time you should be trying to cash out. And then hold your cash and watch what happens. I'm serious. Hold your cash and watch what happens.
To you on that, because we've debated this for the last several weeks, in particular, whether the underwriting standards are too tight, which, again, no one wants them to be too loose again, but people are saying, there's this massive amount of homeowners who could qualify for a refinance out there, but in some cases, even that paperwork or those standards are just too difficult. So are you seeing that, this is a constraint on housing activity, that it far from standards being as loose as they were in the bad old days, they remain too tight?
The biggest constraint is the supply. So even if everybody who wanted to get a mortgage.
She just said it again. Supply. They keep talking about the factor that will blow this market up, but they don't talk about where it is. Where is the supply that conceivably destroy the market? They're acting as if there is no more supply. You're going to have to wait until this, period ends and people are able to make as much money and get whatever they want for their properties, sell at the top of the market, the boom time here as we're talking. But nobody is talking about that supply that's sitting there. I mean, it's like walking through the back. I've given analogy after analogy, but it's there. The iceberg is sitting in front of us, and nobody wants to talk about it. It's amazing to me.
To get a mortgage, there wouldn't be enough homes for all of those people. So the people who have the most money down, who can make all cash offers, who can waive contingencies, they have an edge, and that would be true whether or not the banks loosened their lending standards.
Okay, so people who've got great credit, people who've got big down payments, can take advantage of the mortgages being so low right now. People who can buy cash, whether or not you're an investor or you're someone who has cash to put down on a house. That's all the people who already have money. No one is discussing. We've been in a pandemic for the last 7 or 8 months. Complete pandemic. People haven't worked. Are we ignoring all these people who've had to close their restaurants and their salons and are not able to pay their mortgage? How can that possibly be? Well, everyone likes to hear the great stories, and everyone likes to hear everything is fine and dandy. And I sometimes come across as a naysayer, but not today. I'm telling you, if you're a seller, if you're trying to sell a property, now is the time for you to go ahead and just boom, cash out. Get your house on the market, sell it quickly, bring in some cash, hold on to it, put it in some gold or something, but do something. So when we get back, we're going to talk about what's happening in the news here for the local market. Talk to you in a minute.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.
So I got another video for you to take a look at. Let me go ahead and cue it up. It's from, one of the local news stations here in South Florida. And it's the same type of cheerleading crap I've been hearing from so many stations, so many news reports. And I feel like calling these guys up, say, hey, Ken, Mr. Ken, newscaster guy, I know that was a great story that you did. So tell me how long you think this can last. Of course, every realtor's happy. My wife's a realtor. It's ecstatic. It's a good time. People are calling up, I need to buy. You want to see it? No, just let's put the offer in. Okay, fine. That's unrealistic. What do you think is going to happen, Mr. Newscaster? So let's take a look at his newscast and see if we can't figure out what's going on here.
Lab in South Florida's surging real estate market. More and more homes are selling in a matter of days. But what's driving it all? WPTV News Channel 5's Todd Wilson with insight from the experts and which homes are especially hot commodities right now.
Edith Landy and her husband decided to downsize to a smaller home once their kids grew up and moved out. She says the market is hot even in a time of uncertainty.
Sorry, pending. Sorry, under contract. Got a contract an hour ago. We could be on the road. And sorry, can't see it. Offer was just...
Okay. That's a good thing. Don't get into a bidding war. Save your cash as a buyer. Wait until this craziness ends, which it will. Give it till after the election, after the first of the year. Don't be in a hurry. It's not a great time to buy. It's a friggin' awesome time to sell. It is not a good time to buy. I don't know why they're not telling people this. This is not the time when you buy. Unless you know what you're doing. Unless you're working with an investor and you know how to, what I do. And I forgot to even tell you who I am. Let me just go ahead and do that. My name is Barry Cunningham. I'm a real estate investor here in South Florida. I've been involved in 1,000+ transactions over the last 25 years. And now I'm into real estate development as well, down in the opportunity zones. So I've been involved with a few situations in terms of up markets, down markets, which from my perspective doesn't matter. An up market is just as profitable as a down market if you know how to buy. There's a big difference there if you know how to buy. There's a reason why Black Friday is so huge with shoppers. Actually, I don't know if we're going to have one this year, but Black Friday has been huge with shoppers. Why? Because everybody knows they can get a deal. There's a reason why some people may save up all year and then go shopping on Black Friday, where they can buy that $75 big screen TV that normally costs $1,000. There's a reason why people shop sales, Labor Day sales, President's Day sales, sale, because you're looking for a good deal. If you're a buyer right now, you're not going to get a good deal. You're going to potentially overpay and have yourself in trouble and expect to stay there for quite a while the market settles and rises and everything else. But who goes into anything, whether it be a Black Friday deal or buying a house and go, I'd like to pay the highest price I can possibly get? Who raises their hand and says that? How is that even happening? Well, you got people desperate who she's trying to buy a house. If you're getting answers to phone calls and they're like, it just went under contract, it can't show it to you, that should tell you something. This is too hot to get involved with. You're not going to lose money if you wait. You will not lose money if you wait. The houses are still going to be there after being around for 25 years. I can tell you, I have purchased the same house 3 or 4 times. Scott's honor. There are houses in Fort Lauderdale that I have purchased the exact same house 3 or 4 times. It's going to come back. Just think about that for a second. How would I be able to buy a house multiple times, the same house? Well, number one, I keep a database and I just watch it. Because if that house comes to the market, I know everything about it. So why would I not keep a database and say, in 2001, this happened. 2004, this happened. 2010, this happened. Oh, 2020. I know everything. I can just off the top of my head tell you what's going to happen in that market. Do your numbers. Do your research. Don't buy at the top of the market.
Accepted.
In her experience, Ida says if you didn't put in an offer within 48 hours, the house was gone.
Being in the pandemic has brought the interest rates down and actually made things easier for people.
Nice and super clean.
Okay. What did I tell you yesterday? You remember? Did you guys watch that? The Fed said the interest rates are not moving for a few years. So if you know you qualify for a mortgage today at 2, 3, 4%, you're going to be able to get that same rate a year from now or 2 years from now. You don't have to rush out and let that money burn a hole in your pocket. Now, I said this was about sellers. So from a seller's perspective, you see the psychology that's going on. These people are frenzied. They need to get in a house. So if you need or want to sell your property, this is when you sell. You're at the top of the market. Go for it.
It's a really nice unit.
Juan Acevedo is a realtor. He says Boca Raton is an example of a surging market. Acevedo found single-family homes under $500,000 a hot commodity.
Those homes in 7 days, 42 were under contract, 42% were under contract, and in the first 10 days, 53% were under contract. So those homes are just flying.
Acevedo says half.
He's absolutely right. I showed you one of the properties we're selling. I'm looking in a neighborhood where the days on market are under 14 days. These people were buying houses like there's not going to be another one the following day. It's insane. I looked at a house last week that there's no way I could buy it because it was just a complete teardown, and the price that the person was asking I thought was probably $50,000 too high. It sold. It sold for the asking price, and this was a dog. I mean, they're probably going to have to spend $75,000, $85,000 of repairs on this house, and it sold. So, seller, you made out.
Who's buying may surprise you.
Right now, 50% of my buyers are actually out-of-state buyers that I'm dealing with.
Ken H. Johnson is a real estate.
And he's correct. We're seeing people from out of state, basically in the Northeast corridor, Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, people looking to get out of high tax states and move down here. And here's a hint to that. if people were comfortable with a certain political candidate raising taxes, I think they'd stay where they are, wouldn't they? Just saying.
Expert with Florida Atlantic University. When the pandemic started, he says most real estate experts forecasted gloom and doom.
Those people that are 30 and 40 are really going out and buying homes at a pace that they haven't been in the past because they have less worry or fear over exposure to COVID-19.
He says,
who the hell cares about COVID-19? We're talking about a financial transaction. We're talking about people doing something that they only do once or twice in their lifetime, buy a home. And this guy's talking about COVID-19. I feel like I've walked into some sort of time warp or something. It's just not making sense. People are buying a financial asset or liability, depending on how you look at it. And he's talking about COVID. Man, it just doesn't make any sense.
Low interest rates is driving much of what you see now.
When will this slow down? Yeah. When rates move up.
When will this slow down? And this guy's an expert. When rates change. Doesn't mention, at least the people from CNBC mentioned supply. That's when it ends. When right now the market is pistol hot. And everyone's moving. People are selling. People are buying. They're escaping the Northeast. They're coming down here. And he's talking about when the rates change. So he's thinking this is going to go on for 2 more years. I'm going to show you why it's not. So, Mr. Seller, you need to watch this, what I'm about to show you. And Mr. Investor Buyers, who do stuff that I do, here's what you need to be looking at. So I'm going to switch over. I've seen enough of his video. It makes me ill in terms of what some of these people talk about. And let's look at, I can't show you and we can't log in because you're not part of the MLS, but let's go ahead and look at Zillow. All right, so this is a map of the properties for sale in Zillow that are foreclosed or pre-foreclosure. Let me just show you. This is the stuff that a lot of people aren't looking at. All these red dots are houses that are foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. As of right now, let me just change this thing so you can see. There's 122 properties that are foreclosures on the market in the Boca Raton area. What you're not seeing is all the foreclosures that have been filed that are waiting to come to market. Remember yesterday or 2 days ago, I told you about there being 33,000 properties in South Florida where the mortgages were delinquent. 8,000 or so just here in Palm Beach, 12,000, 13,000 in each of Broward and Palm Beach, Broward and Dade. What do you think is going to happen when all those properties hit the market? When you're looking at this kind of stuff, and you can see for yourself how many of these properties right now are in foreclosure. When you can look at that and say, hey, there's 102. But what's going to happen when there's 4,000, 3,000, 2,000 hitting the market all at the exact same time? I mean, it's a iceberg of epic proportions. And so if you're a seller, which is who I wanted to talk to today, if you're a seller and you want to cash out here at the top of the market, you better do it now. Now is the time for you to go ahead and sell your property. Please tell me I left the microphone on. Yes, it is. To sell your property for the best price you can get right now. Do it. Don't wait. Because if you wait, if you think, I think we can get more. Yeah, my realtor's telling me I think if we wait, we'll get a little bit more. Come January, February, you're going to have to talk to a guy like me. And a guy like me is going to give you a call and say, Hey, Mr. Smith, I understand what you're looking for. Your house isn't worth it. And I understand now you're probably upside down on your mortgage or you're watching your equity just go out the window. Here's what I can give you. Well, I could never sell it for that. Okay, I'll be in touch in 30 days. And then another 1,000 properties hits the market. And I call Mr. Smith. I say, hey, listen, I've noticed that your realtor has dropped the price 3 times. Now he's at what I originally offered you. Would you entertain an offer? Oh, yeah, Barry, sure. And then when they get my offer, which is $20,000 or $30,000 less, they're shocked again. And I'm like, Mr. Smith, you're chasing the market down. Everyone's, it's diving. You're on that ski slope. The iceberg has already been hit. You can't sell me a ticket to the Titanic after it hit the iceberg. So, Mr. Seller, if you're interested in selling your property at a premium, you better do it now. Because after the iceberg hits, which I'm not making it up, if you do your data analysis, tell your realtor to go out there, ask your realtor this. Hey, listen, can you tell me how many houses are in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure in my immediate area that might affect my value in February or March? That's one question that could probably save you 50 grand. 50 grand just by asking that one question. And then when they can't answer you, go ahead and give me a call and I'll put you in touch with an agent who does know that information and can tell you how to make sure that you're not going to get hurt in the next 6 months. But right now, if you have any plans on selling, do it now. Don't wait till you have to paint. Don't wait till you have to do any spring cleaning. It's way past that. Nobody's talking about the iceberg. And while nobody's talking about it, this is your chance to cash in. Now, for the rest of you, we can have a quick conversation, but just about 5 minutes. Those of you who are looking to make money on this situation, this is where it gets really fun. You see, you watch the homes in a particular neighborhood. You make sure that you can find a home where stuff is tapping out. It's moving up really quickly. And you start contacting people who don't know that the Titanic is leaving the dock. And you can say to them, based on what they knew, I understand you have a property for sale. Let me see what I can do. Well, I can get you cash in 7 to 10 days, and here's what I'm willing to pay you. And you put out tons of offers like that. But you're basing your numbers on the current value. If you're in a market right now where the days on market are under 30 days. See, that's a key for some really, really quick money. And it's funny because Diana Olick, she actually talked about it and she was discussing it in the video about, and she Freudian slipped when the flipping, because last year people were flipping and they were making $50,000, $100,000 on deals, and it artificially inflated the market. Now we don't have to artificially inflate the market. The market's already artificially inflated. Now all you have to do is find those pockets where you can find a property that's not top of the market, it's a hidden gem, and what do you need to do to get it to top of the market? Does it need a barrel tile roof? That's going to be too expensive. But it just needs landscaping, possibly some hurricane impact windows, maybe some granite countertops, maybe some stainless steel appliances, get old carpet out of there, put ceramic in, make it look really good. And you spend 15 or 20 grand and you might make 75,000. Right now, even though the market is hot as a pistol, you need to sell. If you're an investor and you want to buy, understand how to critique a deal and do your analysis. And then be prepared when people realize the iceberg has ripped it up, just blown it open, and people start jumping. I know I get called as a bottom feeder quite a bit, but that's because I'm a financial guy. I can see what's coming. And what I've been telling you in these videos, you can see what's coming. It's inevitable. if there were 33,000 people with a mortgage delinquency as of today, chances are they're not going to cure that mortgage. They're not going to remedy their situation. That's just 33,000 icebergs sitting out in the water. So you've got your work cut out for you. And it's a weird market, but you can make a ton of money if you know what you're looking for and you know how to analyze the deal. It's just amazing what's available. So I hope this was of value to you. Let me know. Tell me in the comments if I'm on the right track and I'm telling you guys what you need to hear. And I fumble with the buttons here sometimes, and I'm not just your slick Ken from WPTV. But I just want you to know, sellers sell, buyers be ready, and be wary. Be ready and be wary. Bleh. Be ready and be wary. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.